question is university by default therefore dangerous? And if you ask our parents, they'll be like, no, it's necessary to get a degree, etc. It's a form of learning. But we know the dangers that comes with those assumptions in those disciplines. How can we safeguard ourselves against sort of veering from the straight path? And what role does fiqh and the shuyukh play in safeguarding and guarding us, guarding university students and thereafter those individuals who go into the workforce in preserving their understanding of Islam and making sure that they don't veer from the straight path? Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
You're posing the question to myself? Okay. Since I did bring up the point myself, I'll let the other panelists respond, but if not, then maybe I'll get them in. Okay, so Dr. Rajab gives me permission to respond. You're asking what would be the protection that young people should take, or the measures that they should take when going into the universities. I think there are a number of different things that need to happen to protect one's vision, one's way of looking at the world. One of the primary ones that stands out for me is choosing the right person to keep company with. First and foremost, to seek out teachers who have understanding of the deen in a way that traces back to the Prophet ﷺ, and the person who reflects that teaching in their person. And so how do you distinguish that, and how do you know that that person has it? That's a whole other discussion. But I think that suhba is something that is really, really critical, and particularly when we're talking about, I myself work a lot with communities in the West, not in the Muslim world, and I also write about how the ulama dealt with Muslims becoming minoritized. In colonial India, for instance, you become a minority when you were in power and now you're not. What do you do with that, right? And one of the things that over and over you hear is the thing that would protect you is to surround yourself with people who have right understanding and right practice, both. And I think that's something that we, as Westerners especially, we don't really emphasize, because we are so focused on my individual quest and the ability of myself to think critically and to find answers in a way that is meaningful and important. Like my quest, my personal quest is so important that the requirement to submit your way of thinking to something else or to someone else is anathema to the whole university sort of setup, if you understand what I'm saying. So the one thing that I would emphasize, and there are many things that we could emphasize, a number of our teachers today, they mentioned a lot of things. I think it was Sheikh Hamza, I'm not sure who it was, who mentioned that it's from a very young age that the love of the deen, I think it was you, from a very young age, the parents are the ones who need to bring in attachment to the deen and to Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there are so many factors. But once you're at your stage, like meaning the person who's going into university, for instance, if you are critically aware right at this point that there is some potential of danger, then the way to protect yourself is to seek those people who have either survived through that mess, right? Or who have enough solidness in their own standing and their way of looking at the deen, who would be able to work as anchors for you. And there are people, some of my teachers are here in this audience right now who served that purpose for me when I was in the academy. Had it not been for some of my fiqh teachers, I think I would have spiritually died. So.